Now, with Tonya Francisco and Amy Rutledge, this is Daytime Chicago.
Coming up next, how to keep your kids off the screens and mentally active this summer without breaking the bank.
The Chief Early Learning Officer at Chicago Commons is here in our 5-star furniture green room, and she joins us with more coming up after the break. As summer kicks off, many parents wonder, how do I keep my kids off screens and mentally active without breaking the bank?
So much there.
So much there.
You just said. Karina Slaughter, Chief Early Learning Officer at Chicago Commons, is here to share some tips for building simple, screen-free routines while incorporating play-based learning activities. Karina, thanks for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
You were telling us that Chicago Commons has been around since the late 1800s?
Yes, so more than 130 years.
So you got a little knowledge about what we can do to keep these kids active and keep those brains going.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about what you do at Chicago Commons.
For sure. So one of the things that we always tell parents is to take advantage of what's in your local community. So there's movies in the park, and there are also like free museum days. You can also check into the community events that you have at your local in your local area. So those are really good. The library has summer reading programs as well as STEAM programs. And then I have some activities that you can do indoors and implement weather.
Okay.
Yeah, because if your kids are at home and you're like working and they've got to stay interested, how do you keep them interested?
Totally. And so one of the things that I love is called book art. And so you can read a book, and it's for children of all levels. And what you can do is you can ask extending learning questions to children. So you can ask them to like draw a new conclusion to the book. You can ask them to, construct their favorite page of the book. And so it really fosters children creative writing skills as well as their artistic ability, their recognized and recall. And so throughout that process, you're making sure that children are still learning and engaged, and you can still get your work done.
Do you have any other, the rocks, what are those for?
Yeah.
Yes, and so if you've ever gone on a nature walk, you can see rocks, and children love picking up sticks or rocks or grass. And so what's cool about this is that you can bring these along, and in your house you could either paint them with water, which is very calming. You can paint them with different textures of paint, or you can just have the children organize them. And you can talk about like what shapes they can make, or if they're horizontal or vertical lines. They can make flowers out of the rocks. They can talk about geometry. They can count them, and that's math skills and math development. And so all these things you can bring from nature into your home, but it helps to foster learning for children.
How often, or how long do you think you should spend in these periods in which you're trying to teach them? Because I imagine an hour might be too much.
Yeah, an hour is kind of long, and so it really depends on the age of the child. Obviously, the younger they are, the shorter you need. So maybe 15 minutes for a younger kiddo. The older they are, like if they're a preschool age child, they can stay engaged for maybe about 20 to 30 minutes. Depends on the activity. Something like this can last that long. And so I think it's just about adjusting and having a bunch of different activities available, so that way when they're done with one, they can easily transition to the other without a problem.
What if you got preteens and early teens in the house?
Yeah, and so I think one of the things that's most important for preteens and early teens is social connectivity, which is something that you don't often get when you're not in school, right? And so that contributes to a loss of learning and just a period of isolation. And so one of the things that I would suggest is really tapping into what they like to do, what brings them joy, what brings them dissatisfaction, and then trying to point them in that direction based on what their interests are. And that way you can do frequent checkbacks and make sure that, they're good and, everything is resonating with them.
Are you talking like sports or?
So it could be volunteer activities in the community. It can be local sports. It could also be like hanging out with your friends and your family. It could be trying to see a way that you can get a summer job or get involved in a local program. Those are all things that help teens and tweens, if you will, stay engaged.
What do you guys do at Chicago Commons?
So at Chicago Commons, we offer early learning services, which targets primarily children 6 weeks to 5 years of age. We also have a school age program. And then we do senior care, which is adult day services, as well as in-home care. And then we provide wraparound supports for families through our Family Hub.
That's amazing, because a lot of the stuff in the summertime we're talking about little kids, it gets expensive.
It does.
Yeah.
It does.
And this helps cover a lot of those costs, correct?
It does.
Okay.
And so our programs operate all year round. So even though school is not in session, our services continue. And so we make sure that children are actively engaged in learning. We use the Reggio Emilia approach, which really fosters children's creative thinking and ability. And then we're really big on parent partnership. So how can we meet you where you dream? And so that's the connectivity that we have, where we're always looking for ways and resources to engage parents.
Fantastic, Karina.
All right,
Thank you.
Karina, thank you. For more information, you can visit chicagocommons.org, give them a call, or follow them on the social media handles you see on your screen.